The Welcome Distraction Podcast with the Kemp brothers. Their immature stories, advice, and opinions are their own and should be taken with the same level of seriousness as a drunk uncle's late-night conspiracy theory. Now buckle up, buttercups. It's about to get weird.
All right, you came back for another episode. So here you are on the Welcome Distraction Podcast. I'm one of the Kemp brothers, Brett Kemp. We've got the clone over there, Christopher Kemp,
This guy.
and our younger brother, Nicholas Kemp. So here you are. You made it back. Thanks for coming back. All right. So we're going to jump into a couple more topics today. One probably big topic. We'll see if we have time for anything else, but we're going to go head first, bust our shins, and probably stub our toes talking about some funny fucking injuries.
I see what you did there.
Let's
See it.
And I'm talking about injuries, maybe not funny in the moment, but they're funny looking back at them now. Or we were able to probably laugh about them somehow through the pain, through the tears, through the sweat of whatever stupid thing we were doing. I mean, not even stupid things sometimes, but
Through the surgeries.
yeah. So we've been busted up over the years. I'm going all the way back to childhood. It's probably because we're preemies, Christopher. We're 2 months premature. So the bones are brittle. I think we're born with osteoporosis.
Well, I had my first surgery when I was 2 weeks old.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. I consider myself to be kind of like Samuel Jackson in that movie, Mr. Glass. The one where he, every time he falls down, he breaks all his damn bones. Oh, my gosh. Seems like I break something or hurt something every time I move around these days. But we're going to go back.
Fragile.
We're going to peel back the layers, see what we can remember in the old memory banks of shenanigans that usually ended up in either a hospital visit or probably should have gone to the hospital and waited too long. All right. So I'm going to start off with a more recent story when, say, about 2-3 years ago now. It was just a simple going to a baseball game. Me and my buddy were taking our kiddos. We each had one of the kids with us. There was an evening game at a AAA ballpark here in Utah. We went up there, enjoyed the festivities. I think they had fireworks. It was good. Everybody ran around, got a souvenir or two. And when we went, we took this train, this front runner train. We sat upstairs where you could go to the top of the little cab where it had glass. I mean, it's night, but you can still see everything. But it's up, some steps, and you go up there and you sit down in these kind of open chairs or a booth kind of setting.
Kind of like a double decker.
Yeah.
Second level.
It's scenic, whether it's night or day. It's just kind of fun to go up there to the top. So, of course, the kiddos want to go up there. We go up there, just dodge the weirdos and what have you on the train. And anyway, we get back, it's like 11 o'clock at night. So I'm ready to go to bed. And these trains are going from stop to stop. They're only stopping for, a minute or two. And then they take back off to the next stop. And we're like to stop before the end of the line. And we, wait for the doors to open. We climb off. And then as soon as the doors close, well, they haven't quite closed, but as soon as we step onto the little platform right there, my youngest, she's like, Dad, I forgot all I can hear is, oh my God, I forgot something, So I'm not even really worried about what it is. I just know I need to get back on that train real quick, get up the stairs, run over to the booth that we were sitting at and get whatever it is. And so I do that. I pull the doors open. I run back up there. I run up these steps real quick. And then I jump inside the little booth area, and then I find it is a little plastic helmet, the kind you get a souvenir ice cream Dippin' Dots and shit in, and that's what it was. So I find it, and I'm like, oh my God, this is what I just ran back up on here. So I turn around, I got to get off the train real quick, and so I go to the steps, and I don't even think about it. I just need to get off as fast as I can, so I jump. And as soon as I jump, I'm thinking there's 4 or 5 steps, but as soon as I jump, I'm like, there's 8, 9, 10 steps. And I just jump all the way to the bottom, and my left foot hits the ground, and it just felt like the whole thing just rolled and just crunched. And there was a dude sitting on the bottom, and he just must have thought because I just screamed like a little bitch.
Are you okay? I heard someone screaming like a bitch.
I screamed so loud. All I felt was everything goes crunch. This dude just looks up, makes eye contact with me. And I'm still thinking, I just got to get off this train, So he's probably thinking this fucking meth head just crushed his ankle and now he's trying to dive off this train. So I do exactly that, dive off the train, get onto the platform, and my buddy and the girls are out there.
They're standing right there?
Yeah. They think I'm fucking around. I'm like, dive on there onto the platform. They think I'm screwing around like, oh, he made it off the train in time. Way to go. I just broke my ankle. I just crushed my ankle. Oh, God. And they quickly realized I was not fucking around. And I immediately, had tennis shoes and shorts on or something. It was just I think a breezy night and just some little ankle socks. And I looked down and my ankle was just blowing up right away. And we were conveniently only like a mile or two from the emergency room, and we drove straight there. I got pictures too. I'll load them shits up for you guys to see. But immediately swelled up. I thought for sure it was going to be completely crushed and broken, So go in there and get the x-rays, and they come back and say, yeah, no, it's just a severe sprain. You're probably going to wish it was broken, because I've heard it for years. Sometimes a sprain can be worse than a break. I believe it firmly now, because instead of it just being something that's broke and can be put back together with either a surgery or time, this was just like I tore all the ligaments, tore whatever else was supporting my ankle, and oh my gosh, it just over the next 2 weeks or so, I was sending pictures to my buddies and work, and I was like, I think my foot is dead, because it was so purple and just discolored. But it wasn't just my ankle; it was on both sides of the ankle to my heel, to the tips of my toes. It was all purple. It looked like it was just going through. So anyway, I'll share those. And in the video version, you'll be able to see these. They're not, too gross, but it was pretty god-awful. And unfortunately, I didn't have to have surgery, because I think they could have fixed it better than they did. And it's like 2 years later, I'm still dealing with that shit, because stuff doesn't go back the way it should when you're getting older. So that was fun. That was one to warm us up, right? Get
there you
going.
go. That's like a good old ankle injury.
It's making me cringe just thinking about it.
God. Good times. All right.
Well, I could
What
throw
do
us
you
back
guys
to when we were younger. I guess probably one of my most memorable, but I don't remember all of it. Injuries was a
But you've
head
been pretty
injury.
lucky, though. You've never had a surgery, right, in your life.
I've never been unconscious.
That you can remember.
Except for maybe this time. I've never intentionally been unconscious.
Right.
So yeah,
You've never passed out. You've never broke a bone.
I've broken bones, but
That's
I've
right.
never.
You have, but nothing like popping out.
Right.
Nothing requiring surgery.
I never had to have surgery. Yeah. The worst
Impressive.
broken bone I had was my
Impressive.
collarbone.
Yeah.
And so that happened during a football incident. But let me come back to that.
You never were unconscious when you did like your David Carradine thing? Kung Fu guy? Jerked off till he died? Never mind. Sorry, I digress.
No, I got that down. Yeah, so
Perfect timing.
Use the clip belt.
So I remember we were playing Sting in the pool. It's a game where you throw a racquetball or tennis ball against the wall, and you got to get it. And if you don't catch it, it hits you. Whatever, you got to run and touch the wall, and then get back behind the line.
Yeah. Or if you throw it and you short hop it and it hits the ground first.
If you do any of that, then you got to run, touch the wall, and the other person can get the ball and throw it at you, and whatever. It can hurt if you get hit. So we decided it would be a good idea to do this in the pool. And so we're throwing the ball from the pool against the house wall. And of course, if you drop the ball, you got to get out of the pool. You got to run on this wet concrete, touch the wall.
What could go wrong?
Run back to the pool.
Nothing.
And get in before you can get hit by it. And so, of course, as soon as it hits you, it's like sheer panic, because the others are scrambling to get that ball as fast as possible, and they're going to hit you as hard as they can. It doesn't matter where, because they're just trying to get it and throw it as hard as they can. So I don't remember everything that happened. You guys say you don't remember everything because you guys went under the water. But I threw the ball. Somebody threw the ball, and I think it went over the pool. Because from what I remember, I wound up on the back side of the pool away from the wall. And so you guys went underwater. I got out to get the ball. You guys came up, and I guess I was on the ground screaming. And you guys thought I was screwing around. And so you guys dragged me back into the pool.
Yeah, we were like, get back in here. You're not done playing this.
And I'm like,
that's what you should do, right? You're laying on the ground crying. Let's put them back in the body of water.
And I'm screaming.
It's faking anyway.
I'm screaming, and I'm saying, I can't see anything. I can't see anything. And my eyes are closed. You guys are screaming at me to open my eyes. And then, so fast forward. I'll fast forward, and you guys can fill in the blanks for me. Next thing I know, I wake up on the porch. Like, you guys are there with me, and I think either mom or dad was there by then. And you guys were still screaming at me to...
You came to in your mind, but you were awake the whole time. We were talking to you. You just weren't You
I don't
weren't
remember
making
any
any
of it.
sense.
Yeah.
Because to
You
us,
just kept
you
saying you
looked
couldn't see, you couldn't
completely
see.
normal. You kept saying you couldn't see, but we didn't think you sustained an injury. We had no idea. We didn't understand what was going on.
Yeah.
We had to just think later that you must have hit your head because none of this makes sense. And we were like, and you had your eyes, I think you had your eyes closed for a while or something. You said you can't see. And we're like, open your eyes. And then you open your eyes and then you're like, I can see. And we're like, yeah, no shit. You just open your eyes.
Yeah.
And then mom was out there and she's just talking you through it. And it still just didn't make sense. We had no idea.
So I remember we were playing Sting, and then next
Mhm.
thing I know, I woke up on the porch, and nobody
Yeah.
knows what happened. But what followed from that is I wound up missing like 2 or 3 weeks of school because I could not stand up without a massive headache. And so they went and took me to the hospital. I had these CT scans done, and they said I had like a mild bleed on my brain. And so I wound up, I could
Makes
not
sense.
stay vertical. So
Makes
I had to stay in bed for like, it was like 2 or 3 weeks for me to recover. Still don't know to this day what happened, but I know it's been
I don't remember
pretty
you
bad.
actually staying in the hospital either, right? They were just like,
Yeah.
keep
Take
an
him
eye on him,
home.
take him home,
Yeah.
he'll be fine. Rub some dirt on it, walk it off.
Now, fast forward to the broken bone, the worst broken bone I ever had, which didn't require surgery, but it was a clean break. We fast forward to the house in Howie, and we're playing
yeah.
football
Next door.
in the vacant lot next door, and this lot is on a hill. And so we decided, again, it'd be a good idea to play tackle football with no pads.
How old do you think we were?
14? It was 14?
Yeah,
Maybe
you're
13?
14.
You guys maybe 16,
Yeah,
17?
We're about
Sounds about right.
16 almost.
And we had a couple neighborhood kids were over, and we're bored. Let's play football, tackle, which we didn't do very often. Normally, we tried to be somewhat smart about it. We just played two-hand touch, but I don't know if it was pressure
touch would
from
turn
the
to
neighborhood
tackle.
kids.
Mhm.
And so I got the ball, and I'm running downhill, and I get tackled, and I don't know if it was just one or two people right on top of me, and all their weight right on me, and going downhill. And as soon as I hit, I knew something was wrong, and I started freaking out. And what did I scream?
You said, I need air conditioning. I need air conditioning. What the hell is air conditioning going to do for your collarbone, your shoulder?
We ain't got none.
Like, of course, in that moment, it's like you're in shock, and and adrenaline's kicking in, and just sheer pain, and you're just screaming out whatever. And yeah, for whatever reason, I needed air conditioning, and I just wanted to get inside. And I remember, like, just not feeling good. Like, I felt like I was going to throw up. And I remember Dad comes down, and I'm standing in the shower, and I remember this little prison shower that we had with like a shower stall that was maybe 2 feet wide by 2 feet deep. And we had a little medicine cabinet that faced towards the shower. And I remember just standing in the shower with the water on and looking in the mirror, and I'm like this. And I remember Dad saying, can you raise your shoulder up? And I'm like, and I remember him just being like, God damn it. He's more pissed off that now I gotta go to the
take him to the hospital.
Gonna have medical bills, I'm like, God damn it. So
you got a Nemo fin.
yeah, get dressed. And I'm like, I can't get dressed because I couldn't even lift my shoulder. And so
I think he knew it was broke at that point.
we go to the hospital to do x-rays, and clean breaks. This part of the collarbone was pointing down and like this. And I remember the doctor saying we got to reset it. Right now he, that bone could come down and puncture his lung. And so
Goddamn.
they gave me some drugs, and they're like, all right, this is going to hurt a little bit. And so they had to like pull my shoulder back to get the
Mr.
bone to go
Miyagi?
back. To get it to come up, and then I wound up having to wear it. Looked like a bra without the cups.
Backwards bra.
Yeah.
I remember.
And
It was like a harness.
Dad would not let me wear it under my shirt. That was my original thought. Like, I'm gonna wear this under the shirt. Nope, you have to wear it over your shirt. I don't want someone to come up to you and bang you on the shoulder and re-break it. Had to wear that for like 6 weeks. God, it was miserable.
Yeah, I remember that first night.
Yeah,
I think we pushed our beds close together and slept, and you're just moaning and wailing and could not get comfortable because, of course, you let your body settle. And, man, I couldn't sleep at all. It was terrible.
I felt bad. I know I kept you guys
Kept me
up
all night, you son of a bitch.
You couldn't move. You rolled left or right. Like,
Yeah.
man, I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
Man, well, let's see what you've got, Christopher. I'm
All
going
right,
to tell
I got
my
one.
breaking collarbone story, but you go
I got
yours.
one that's kind of interesting that I've heard similar stories people say over the years, and then I'm like, oh, I had what that is. There I was. It was Korea in 2006. I was in the Air Force. I was stationed at Osan Air Base. And we're playing flag football. And we're playing out back on this, in the Air Force, they made fields into football fields, and they were by no means football fields. They were, fields that were empty that they called good enough to play a recreational sport on. So we're playing flag football.
Good enough for government work.
That's right.
Good old Air Force.
So we're playing flag football. The game's close, whatnot. I'm playing wide receiver. I get the pass thrown to me. I catch it in the air, and as I'm going up for the air, the ball in the air, catching it, I get my feet taken out from underneath me, and I hit the ground, and I land on my head. Right. And then things kind of get a little fuzzy after that. I do remember getting up, and this is kind of like an after story of putting the details back together. I scored a touchdown. I got up. Then I'm told I go over to the actual, we're now kicking off, whatnot. I knew the game was close, and then I turned to my buddy, John. I'm like, hey, what just happened? He's like, you just scored a touchdown. I was like, oh, we did? We're winning? He's like, yeah. So I looked towards the field again, and then I remember turning to look at him again. I was like, what just happened? He's like, you just scored a touchdown. Get the fuck off the field. and another friend of mine comes over and grabs me. And now I'm like walking weird and like, I know who you are, but I don't know your name. And then I remember thinking all these things. I'm like, oh my gosh, I know where I'm at. I recognize these buildings. I know where I live, but I no longer know how to get there. They're like, do you have your wallet? I was like, yeah, but I don't know how to get to it.
What's a wallet?
Yeah. And they're like, well, what room do you live in? And I was like,
what's a room?
Yeah. I know the room number. I know what the building looks like, but I don't know how to get there anymore. And they're like, oh, okay. All right. Like I said, I'm in the middle of Korea. It's a weekend. They're like, all right, we're going to get you in a cab and take you to the hospital. And my buddy has, a phone where we can call people. And he's like, who do you want me to call? I was like, I guess call my wife. He's like, all right, so Heather? And I was like, yeah, but I don't know how to call her. What's the phone number? I don't know. So everything was fading off. Like I didn't know. I knew things, but I did not know how to do anything. If it wasn't for somebody picking me up, putting me in a cab and taking me there, there's no way I would have found the hospital. There's no way I would
still be walking.
I'm pretty tired. Think I'll go home now.
Yeah. I'm just going in a circle. So I only got one shoe on. And so they put me in there. They go to the Korean hospital, the hospital on base in Korea. And then they put me on this board, and they're going to do a quick little scan of my neck, make sure everything's good. And then when they go to touch my neck, I'm like, ugh. And they're like, oh, no. And then from there on, they're like, all right, freaking out. Now they're trying to call people in. It's a weekend, trying to get different specialists here that's not available. They do not want me to move. And now they're trying to take me downtown to the Korean University.
You're pulling down your pants.
Yeah, it was weird. I was like, oh, this is what you guys do here, huh? And so now they're taking me by ambulance to the Korean hospital. Can't get a hold of anybody. I just know this. I'm being shipped away now, strapped to a board. It's been probably, fast forward, it's probably been about 4 hours now by the time they actually get me there. They wheel me into this Korean University hospital. I'm on the first floor, and I can only see what's to the right, right and left of me on this board. And you look and you see patients, and it looks like a kennel for humans. Like the hospital beds have rails that are like big enough to where you can't crawl out of it. It looks like they're all metal and everything. You're like, what is going on? Everything's like a dirty concrete and everything. It's supposed to be a nice hospital. Yeah. So I laid there for hours while they're trying to figure out what to do. And now they're going to put me into an MRI machine, a closed MRI. And this is where it goes back, talk to the fears of claustrophobia. We did that in a previous
how
episode.
did you remember you had claustrophobia?
So this is where it really started to develop. I didn't have it. I was getting it right.
Oh, okay.
So now, because I'm strapped to this board, you can't move. They have your neck locked into place. You cannot move. It's locked into place by this machine or whatnot, or it's plastic almost like screwed into the
port on each
like
side.
Like the cone of shame. You sure?
Yeah. So he couldn't lick his balls. He could maybe go back and forth a little bit. So I couldn't chew on my.
We don't want you moving your neck, and we don't want you licking your balls.
Yeah. Well, he's got neutered.
I think
taking away everything from me.
I think you really were at a veterinarian's.
Yeah.
Holy shit. You're right. They just take him anywhere. He doesn't even know what the fucking hospital is right now.
They wanted to check my neck and neuter me. So after I got neutered,
Bob Barker was all over the TV.
So
Weird.
Now they're trying to shove me in this MRI thing. Now I'm freaking out. I'm like, you're not putting me in there. And now I'm developing this new fear. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't move at all, and I'm freaking out. And so this lady comes over, and she cannot speak English at all. A couple words. She's like, and she's got the syringe in her hand. She's like, shot, go to sleep. Shot, you to sleep. I'm like, oh my God. I'm thinking it's going to like paralyze me where I'm awake,
Night,
freaking out, locked to this board, can't do anything. And they're going to shove me in the MRI machine. And I was like, no. So I absolutely refused it. They ended up doing this fancy 64-bit looking 3D picture thing that I was able to put together a whole picture. And eventually, I think I was strapped to the board for about 16 hours total.
Oh my God.
To where afterwards, they finally were like, okay, we believe you did not suffer any neck injury, and we're going to undo it. And they're like, open it. I was like, and they let me sit up, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I finally got to come home. It had been like 20 hours since that had happened. And then, this is back when you communicated through like Yahoo Messenger and, things of that nature. You had a phone, but it usually was voice over internet or something. You didn't have one on you a lot of times, especially if you were deployed or overseas. So finally, people are like, I was hoping to hear from you. I figured you got hurt playing because, knew I was going to play a football game. But yeah, and so for about 3 weeks, I was eating Motrin like it was candy. Because turns out, learning about it and everything now, I probably would have been what's considered like a concussion protocol. I had such bad ringing in my head and everything. And only until after bits and pieces started coming back to me was I able to figure out what had happened. But after all of it did happen, I read some other stories that it definitely was a temporary amnesia of where I knew where I was, but I could not connect the dots whatsoever. So they end up calling it a spinal concussion. So that's why me brain no worky. Sometimes.
Oh yeah. Speaking of CTE, I've had my share of concussions over the years.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah, so I think I've had 4 or 5 nice little bumps in the noggin for various reasons. I'm sure those other reasons will come up in other episodes, but one we can share while we have a few more minutes of time. I was playing softball. This is probably 2013, I think. Yep. In the military, we kind of do these softball tournaments with our career fields from time to time, where we all get together, and you'll have like 10 to 15 teams put together in these 2-day tournaments. And, if you're doing a 5-game minimum, well, you're playing at least 5 games. And then if you do a round robin and stuff, you could play upwards. If you lose and have to fight your way back through, you're talking about anywhere from 10 to 14 games, possibly, if you're going to get it all the way back to the championship and play. And so that's exactly what had happened this one weekend. And it was down in Texas in the summer, and it was hot as shit. We're fighting through that. And I was playing left field, so I'm out there running my ass off all the time. And we had done just that, though. We had fought back through the loser's bracket. We had gotten into the championship, and I was already planning on going to the hospital probably just to get at least an IV because I was so dehydrated. I mean, between every pitch to this point, I was having to, like, hey, more time. A foul ball, I would give it everything I got and go running for it and just, hey, give me a little more time in between these pitches. Holy shit, I got to get reset. And then I'd regroup, get ready for the next pitch. And then if it's coming my way, I'd be running again. And even if it wasn't coming directly to me, you still, as one of the outfielders, you kind of had to be moving, position yourself to back somebody up or be ready. So I was just dead on my feet, tired. And this particular one that was hit, it was hit to deep left field in between the center fielder and myself. And it was right in between us. So it was anybody's ball, but it was more so mine. And I was giving it everything I got, and I'm running full steam. Well, if you played baseball or softball at all, the outfielders are supposed to talk to each other and tell each other what's going on. Hey, fence, or hey, it's coming up, or I got it, I go, stuff like that. So communication, just making sure that you're on the same page and there's not an accident. Well, we were getting a little complacent because it was, so tired and long in the games that we were playing. It's like 10 o'clock at night at this point. And I go running full steam ahead, giving everything I got for this ball, and it's going towards the fence. But I don't realize how close it's going towards the fence. And it's just an old chain link type fence with the big yellow tube on the top. Doesn't do you any good. But I went full steam into the fence, thinking I still had enough room to catch this fly ball.
Here's the pitch. It's a shot to deep right center. It's going. Oh, my God.
And I caught the fence with nothing but the right side of my face. I've broken both sides of my face, so I'm trying to figure out which one it was. So the right side of my face. And wouldn't you know it, this particular chain link's fence, they put the poles for the chain link fence on the inside. So I caught
Nice.
nothing but the pole on the inside of that outfield fence with my face. And I hit it so hard that, I just saw stars. And then I immediately just fell backwards against the fence because I was still standing. I didn't catch the ball.
Didn't catch it.
I know.
That's even
Everybody
worse.
always asks that.
Did you win the game?
Was it
I
a home
had
run?
to find out. But I leaned up against the fence and I thought my eyeball was hanging out. I hit it so hard that everything just went dark and flash. I thought my eyeball was hanging out. And the dude next to me, Ricky, who didn't yell shit when I hit the fence before it,
Ricky.
he was like, "You're fine, you're fine." Everybody else thought I like broke my arm or something the way I fell into the fence. But I was like, "Is my eye okay?" They're like, "Yeah, your eye's fine." And then the light started to come back, getting less blurry, and I could see that I could still see. And everybody, look at me, and immediately my eye is just like, I'll post pictures of that too. So my eye is just swelling shut, and they're saying, "Do you want to go to the hospital? What do you want to do?" I go to the dugout, and then my eye is just getting like I can't even, see out of it. I was like, "Yeah, I'll take that ride to the hospital now." So the ambulance shows up. They carry me to the ambulance and strap me in, and I ride back there and get to the hospital. I don't think the team's going to be there anytime, after they're done playing. And I just get wheeled in there, and I'm sitting with one guy that came with me. And of course, the emergency room is full. It's 11 o'clock at night now. Yeah, it's all full, and they just see me in a wheelchair. "Hey, you hit your face. It looks like it's gonna be black and blue." So
Who hit you?
Yeah, she did. I didn't have the towels.
I fell.
But they said that I have to just wait my turn because I'm not a priority. And they said, "Here you go. We've got you checked in. We'll get you when we get to you. Let us know if your symptoms change." Well, my buddy Ray, he ends up showing up later to swap out the dude. And it's now like 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm still sitting there. I have a vomit bag just in case I needed it. But I'm sitting there in the chair. I'm dirty as shit. I've been playing all day. And they've wheeled me off into like a dark side of the emergency room. And I'm just chilling there.
Put you
And
in
then
the
all of a sudden
corner.
I'm like, and I puked into the vomit bag. But that was my indication that, okay. I was like, "Hey, Ray, you go tell him my symptoms have changed." And they're like, "Oh, we'll see you now." And so, of course, the doctor comes out and they do an x-ray, and I fractured my right orbital bone and all around the eye. And I had already fractured my left orbital bone. So in this scenario, I was just worried about whether I needed to have surgery. But what was funny about this situation was my buddy, he was playing catcher that day. And earlier in the day, like the second game, he was playing that. The catcher doesn't usually have to do that much, but he could hit some bombs. Well, there was a play at the plate where the dude came sliding through. Even in softball, he still somehow slid through. And he slid through Ray's glove. Ray got him out. And Ray didn't think much of it, kind of shook his hand off, and I taped his hand up. Well, while he was chilling with me, throughout that night, and they told me that I had my face fractured, he asked if he could have an ice pack for his wrist. And sure enough, we had to drive all the way back the next day. But when we got back there, he had his wrist x-rayed and it was broken. So he really did have a hurt wrist. So the next day we go back a little bit later than everybody else. And Ray, he's a funny SOB. He likes to stop because I have this movie picture perfect black eye now from the fracture. And then he has got a brace on for his wrist. He's going out of his way to stop at places like Subway because we needed to get some food. It's a 20-hour drive back to our base. And he's stopping, and I'm like getting some stuff and trying to find some sunglasses to cover up. And I go inside to the sandwich counter, and I go in there, and he's just staring at me. And there's two girls behind the counter, and he's like, "Go ahead, take off your sunglasses." And I was like, "What are you doing, Ray?" And he's like, "Take off your sunglasses." I take off sunglasses, and the girls were like, "Oh my gosh, he told us that he hit you, but we did not believe it." And they thought with his broken wrist and my busted up face that it was just two war wounds from us getting into a fight to each other, and that we're still friends. We talked it out. We used our fists to do the talking, and now we're all good. But it was hilarious at the moment, but it was still like, "Thanks a lot, Ray. I'm just trying to get some fucking food. I'm dying over here. I'm taking as much meds as I can, and you're still making jokes." But man, it was funny looking back now, but maybe not so much at the time.
Damn. Now you and Ray are best friends. Friends.
Yeah. All right, I think we got time for one more. We got time for one more funny one. What we got?
I took a hose to the face in the desert one time.
That's a totally different episode. Explicit trouser snakes to the face.
So I have a scar right here. If I you can see it. So it's more to the head. Yeah, pretty sure I was concussed.
You said it was a
So
trouser snake to the face.
it
You
was
said
it was
some hose.
it was a big one.
To the face?
It was a 4-incher, and I'm not talking about long.
Magnum.
Oh, one of those girth ones.
Girth like
So,
pop can.
My career field in
A
the Air Force.
shower, not a grower.
Career field in the Air Force. I worked with refueling aircraft, and so we dealt with handling the fuel and moving the fuel and all that. We have these systems that rely on these pretty heavy duty hoses, and so it was during the Iraqi War, and we were winding down, and we were tearing down the base, and so we're disassembling these systems. So this hose is probably about a 30-foot hose, and it's coiled up behind me, and I don't realize the tension that's on this hose. And so I'm trying to pull the metal coupling out.
I think I know her.
I'm trying to pull this hose out of this fueling system, not realizing there's all this tension for it to fly up. And so I should have had my hand on top here, and I didn't. I had it like this, and when I pulled it out, it came flying up, hit me square between the eyes, knocked me on my ass, and then blood just started gushing down my face. And so one of my buddies comes running over, and he's like, Kemp, man, are you okay? And he looks at me, he's like, holy shit. And so he runs and gets help, and they come back and they rush me into the shop, and cleaning up my face. And so they wind up driving me. And so this is like 3 a.m. And we're in the middle of the desert. We're in Bahrain, and they take me to medical, and this doctor comes in, and I'm pretty sure he was 3 sheets to the wind. And he's like, all right, yeah, I'm going to get you stitched up. And so he winds up only giving me like 3 or 4 stitches. So winds up leaving me with a good scar.
Stapler off the desk.
And then they're like, okay.
My stapler.
They're like, okay, you go ahead and go back to your room. Well, we don't have rooms over there. We're stuck in tents, and it was like torture to be in your room. Like, I was like, I'd rather go back to work, please. And so I wound up going back to work and finishing my shift.
Covered in blood.
And yeah, I had blood all over my shirt, still over my pants. And yeah, I remember feeling dizzy, hanging in the ears. Like, yeah, I probably should have been seen for other stuff. But yeah, here I was with stitches in my head in the middle of the desert, 3 a.m, heading back to work.
I'm just saying, bitches get stitches.
What?
That's not, man. Well, I'm going to wrap it up.
Yeah, wrap it up.
Okay, all right. Well, it's a miracle we even made it out of childhood, given all these injuries. Just talking about these, I could probably go on for another 2 or 3 hours just by myself with all the dumb shit that we've got from childhood
Yeah, I would say we
injuries.
probably have at least 10 or more concussions between us.
Yep.
For
The
sure.
more adult injuries. Just hearing you guys talk about them, I've thought of like 4 or 5 other dumb things, stuff that's happened through the fault of myself and others. Shit happens, and then
Mostly
you bleed out
sports.
for a little while and you deal with it, right? Yeah. So we'll probably all have CTE, living life, going through it. But that's all
Had
right, because it's undiagnosed and you can't find it till after we're dead, right? So it's going to be fine. Yeah.
We had fun doing it.
You know,
Good.
so that's going to be our sponsors now for the Welcome Distraction podcast. It's going to be Tylenol, ice packs, Motrin,
Icy hot.
all the things. Rub it all
I've heard
over.
horse liniment oil.
Oh, yeah. I get
Does wonders.
that veterinarian horse liniment stuff. Yeah, it does wonders for
You learned about that when you were in Korea?
You got to go with
Google
the
it, Google
you got to go with the main. No go against
Yeah, yeah.
Don't go against
When
the
they
grain.
sent you home, Christopher, did they send you home with a bag of treats?
On that note, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this episode. And we're going to go ahead and call it for the Welcome Distraction podcast. But we're glad you came back. We hope to see you on the next episode. Go
You
and
gotta
check
check
there
us
to all
out.
the socials, like, subscribe, hit the buttons, find us on all the things. We're there. We're there. Trust us. Okay. And then don't be afraid to comment and email, give us that feedback stuff. But until next time, we're going to be Brett, Chris, and Nick, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers.
Let me do that last part again. Okay.
Go for it.
All right.
Hey,
Wait, hold on. I'm going to do that.
do you want to do
And
the
we'll
socials before we wrap it up? Or all that?
I already did it.
Okay, go.
Okay, I'll do it right now. So I hate to wait till the end, but go ahead and like, subscribe, watch us on YouTube, listen to us on Spotify, find us on Apple Podcasts, Patreon. We're on all the things. So until next time, and we do hope to see you again next time with Brett, Christopher, and Nicholas here on the Welcome Distraction podcast, where we're going to do more stuff. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying.
Yeah, you got to edit this one.
You're at 38-minute mark.
Yeah, it's going to be like 32 after we're done fucking cutting this all out.
You gonna do it again?
You got it. You got this.
Yeah, one more time. All right. Okay.
got this.
Just go with it. Keep thinking positive thoughts. Wrap it up. Keep going. Don't stop.
All right, guys. So we're going to just wrap this up here on the Welcome Distraction podcast. Thanks for joining us here on this podcast with Brett, Christopher, and Nicholas. It's been our pleasure to share these dumb stories with you, but rest assured we will have more. We have a life's worth of dumb shit that we're going to do, and then hey, we're still making stories every day with the dumb shit that we do. But we're going to keep peeling back the layers in these memory banks, and we're going to keep sharing with you guys. Go find us on all the socials, and we'll see you next time. Cheers. Is that any better?
Until you said shut.
Let me do it again. All right, one more time. I thought
Just make it.
Yeah,
Wrap up. Say, hey, welcome.
I can't think of what the next thing is I want to say, so I'm dragging out what I'm saying.
Just say we're out of time here at the Welcome Distraction podcast.
All right,
Check us out on all the socials.
All right, that's going to about do it for this time on the Welcome Distraction.
All right, I'm going to take this on.
Okay, all right. Well, that's going to about do it for us here on the Welcome Distraction podcast. I'm Brett, it's Christopher, and that's Nicholas. Thanks for sticking around, listening to all these stories of how we got these fucking injuries, and we can't wait to share more stories with you. Go check us out on all the socials, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.